The Black Gold Nation presents a gathering of the tribes to implement 100 years of building. The ultimate goal of the Black Gold Nation movement is to establish a nation within many nations. By that, we mean a collection of communities, towns, and or cities that we own and or control. We absolutely must be in a position to own and or control our environment, because when other people control that environment, we continue to get what we've been getting, which is never and has never been enough. We can have anything we want in this country and around the world, but we have to first understand what we're dealing with so that we can move forward as much as possible as a unified group. From the time the first documented slave arrived in North America in 1619 to now 2020, we've gone through 400 actual and over 2,000 consecutive years, back to back to back to back to back, of assault, terror, and destruction. Now, we want the world to know what we've been through so that the world will stop looking at us as if we're second-class citizens, as if we're inferior, as if we can't do. We want the world to know this, but it's critically important that we Black people know this, because only we bring to the table what our people need to save ourselves. We're the only group that can love ourselves enough to save ourselves. We have gone through the most brutal form of slavery ever inflicted on one group to another group that lasted over 246 years here in North America. We've had the global scientific community coming together to declare us inferior for over 319 years, and then putting systems in place to bolster that scientific pseudoscience that declared us inferior. We've had our human, political, and civil rights denied for 378 years. We've been experimented on medically for 368 years. We've had to deal with slave codes and black codes for 66 years. We've had to deal with terrorism, race riots, and mass murder. And I'm not talking about mass murder whereby 5, 10, 15, 20 people are killed. I'm talking about 50, 75, 100 plus Black people, whole towns wiped out because white people were trying to make a point, and that's lasted for 127 years. The rise of the Ku Klux Klan, which is America's first homegrown terrorist organization that's still in existence today, for 154 years. We had to deal with convict leasing and peonage farms, two things that most people don't know served to extend the life of slavery after the signing of the 13th Amendment for an additional 102 years. We had to deal with Jim Crow and enforced racial segregation, legal laws that made it illegal for us to have the same systems, the same education, no opportunity, the same economic opportunities as other people, which of course served to create an underclass system for our people in this country, and that's lasted for 74 years. We have to deal with redlining, gerrymandering, and gentrification, which is politicians using their political power to strengthen themselves, weaken our political power, and decimate and destroy our communities by moving us out as they move in. That's lasted for 125 years. We've had to deal with the prison industrial complex, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry based on the incarceration of Black, brown, and poor white people. We've had to deal with the government's counterintelligence program, something that they now admit was targeting Black and brown leadership for exile, incarceration, or assassination. We've had to deal with the creation of the welfare state, which is the U.S. government saying to Black and brown women, if you want this money to feed your family, to pay your rent, to get this Section 8 housing, to get this government assistance, there cannot be a man, there cannot be a father figure, there cannot be a head of the household in the family. What kind of government wants to remove the father figure from the family? And of course, that served to decimate and destroy and break up the Black family. We had to deal with this government pushing crack cocaine into our communities on purpose for over 10 years. And then we've had to deal with them ramping up the war on drugs that said, if you use this crack cocaine that we're pushing into your community on purpose to fund an illegal war, you're going to prison. They said, if you use this crack that we're pushing into your community on purpose, you're going to prison. It was not like it is now, where the opioid epidemic is affecting white America, so all of a sudden it is a health crisis. That is not how it was for us in the 80s, and hundreds of thousands of Black people have been locked up and incarcerated based on these two things. And lastly, we've had to deal with Hollywood's propaganda, which may seem like it doesn't fit, but it actually does, because Hollywood has done a masterful job of marketing the image of the Black man, woman, child, and community to the world. So as a result, the world treats us as if we're second-class citizens and or inferior. This is not an exhaustive list. This is not a complete list. This is simply some of the major things that have happened to our people in North America since we've been here over the past 400 years. It is critically important that we understand this, because only we, Black people, can motivate ourselves, can align ourselves, and put ourselves in a position to do so because no one else cares to do so. The previous slide is not a complete list, but just that previous slide constitutes over 2,330 years of continuous, relentless, methodical, intentional, simultaneous, systematic, which means it's on purpose, unapologetic anti-Black acts of terror. That previous slide is not conjecture, hyperbole, supposition, or assumption. It is American history. And it's very important that we understand that it's history, because if it is history, that means that somebody did it and they did it to someone. And a lot of those items on the previous slide, it's not history, but current events. We believe in this movement that the only solution for Black people is to revisit a Black Wall Street modeled community whereby we are in control of the systems that govern and touch our lives. We believe the only solution for Black people globally, if we're not to become a permanent underclass in America, in Africa, and in the diaspora, is for us to create 100% self-sufficient independent communities that are owned and controlled by the community. If we, Black people, melanated people, don't own and control the environment, other people will own and control the environment, which means we're going to continue to get what we've been getting, which is communities that look like third world countries. To learn more about the Black Gold Nation movement, what we're doing to change the power dynamic in our communities globally, and how, most importantly, you can be a part, please visit our events website at www.blackgold-wakandarising.com. Click presentations and register for the next A Gathering of the Tribes introductory presentation. No one is coming to save Black people, but that is okay, because we don't need anyone to save us. Everything we need, we already have. Are you ready to join us? Thank you very much. God bless. Have a wonderful day.